trip this morning. Wow, what a morning. We are rejoining our live broadcast after a crazy weather morning. Hasn't it been nuts out here?
Yes.
Lots of rain. Bowen said you might even actually want to be a meteorologist, huh?
Yes.
Well, as the weather continued and as Shiri was keeping on top of those weather concerns, we have been keeping the fun going. We've also been keeping the work going. So we've actually been taping some of our segments to bring you throughout the broadcast to get back to them now that the immediate threat is for the moment gone. But I want to introduce you to Emerson, who is 9, and Bowen, who is 10. And they are our junior reporters. And it is not always easy to be a reporter and a meteorologist. Isn't that right?
Yes.
So now I understand you have a couple of questions for me, right?
Yes.
All right. What's your first one, Emerson?
If you were...
Emerson, I'm going to stop you because we have some immediate weather concerns. We're going to throw back to the studio. And Shiri, what's the latest?
This is unbelievable. We've actually got another tornado warning that has been issued. I'm not surprised. We were actually looking at this as soon as the other one ended. But we have got a tornado warning that has been issued now for Foxborough, Brockton, Bridgewater, over to areas like Rockland, Randolph, Pembroke as well. This is the same storm that we were just tracking that was showing some signs of rotation a little while ago. We have plenty of other areas right now because we are watching like a really big area right now, seeing that heavy rain. But right now, that new tornado warning is in effect, and I believe this is going to go for a half an hour. So let's see, this is going to go until 9:45 for these parts of Norfolk County as well as Plymouth County this morning. So this is our new tornado warning that has been issued. Again, same storm that we were watching before. And if you look real closely, you can almost see it like a little bit of spin with this whole thing. Mansfield, Sharon, Brockton. Those are areas where you need to immediately take shelter. I'm actually going to step off to the side. Maybe I'll just move this a little bit. I don't want to cover the data for you guys. But we will continue to monitor this because, again, actually, Ceci, can you check the reports and make sure National Weather Service hasn't had any reports? We're going to check on the reports, but the big thing is really going to be the potential for some rotation that I'm assuming was flagged on radar. I mean, we hopped on here really fast this morning. So, oh, yes, we are getting a much better signature right now. So right now, I would say Mansfield area, especially out around 106 and 140, even parts of 495, not areas that you want to be on right now. This is where I am seeing that green and red collide, and that is where we have some of the wind within the storm moving away from our radar site in Taunton and some moving towards. So right now it is around the Mansfield area that we have our best signature for rotation. It's the best signature that I've actually seen all morning so far. And from that, you know what, it's going to be very hard to use that product this morning. So we're just going to stick with this. We are going to continue to watch the velocity scans. We're going to continue to watch the radar as well. One of the things I've been saying this morning, because this is a very heavy rain that is falling with this. This is not a situation where you are going to go outside and be able to see a tornado. We would never ask you to do that. That is not a safe idea. This is the time to take cover. If you are in one of these areas with a tornado warning right now, on the list would be Mansfield, Brockton, Bridgewater. These are areas where we have a storm. We are seeing some signs of rotation right now on radar. We have some wonderful tools. They do not require us to see a funnel cloud or see a tornado touchdown, but we can see that this storm is rotating and the potential is there for this to spawn a tornado. That is always going to be one of our biggest threats when it's to life and property. That's why we're going to urge you to stay inside. You cannot be in a vehicle. A car is not a safe space to be. It needs to be a solid building. So we would say inside your house, interior room, away from the windows, basement, if that's an option, that's always going to be your best bet. In Mansfield, next in line of concern is probably going to be Brockton. A lot of lightning with this as well, and we have seen a ton of lightning strikes as we've been going through the morning hours today, and that's something that we've been keeping a very close eye on. But again, tornado warning now goes until 9:45 this morning, and that is for parts of southeastern Massachusetts and Plymouth County and Norfolk County as well. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through some of these spots because our new tornado is moving. I just want to check that the speed that this is going right now. Our new tornado is moving east at about 40 miles per hour, so I'm going to zoom in out and put a tracker on this so everybody can stay on top of the next areas at risk. by the way, this whole line extends down through Taunton and Somerset. And even though some of those parts of that line don't have rotation, they are capable of producing wind damage, as we have several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now for that wind damage potential. Okay, so tracker on this storm. Right now, that storm is really around the Brockton area into Bridgewater. Actually, I am going to redraw that line for you. I would like to do it right here. As far as the timeline goes on this, it's moving eastward. I'm going to give you West Bridgewater at 9:32 this morning, Brockton 9:35, Abington 9:43. Pembroke about 9:54, 9:56 in Hanover, and if it holds together at 10:05 in Marshfield, even if it's not in the form of a tornado warning, when it gets to these towns and cities, you've got really strong winds that are capable of producing damage. That's why Ceci and I are teaming up this morning. She's going to keep an eye on any kind of damage reports that are issued with this. And we work hand in hand with the National Weather Service as well. A lot of wonderful information comes with them in a situation like this. So taking us back to this tornado warning that we're watching closely, that will be in effect until 10:15 this morning. The greatest rotation that I see is out towards Mansfield. So I do want to save this, and then we're just going to go over to our velocity data. Velocity is another tool that we have from radar. Even though it doesn't look as pretty as some of the rain, it allows me to have the best eye on where we have some different motion within the storm. And right now, it is around the Mansfield area that I'm seeing that greatest potential for some spin. So we look at our radar site, which is right down here in Taunton. Anything in green is moving towards it. Anything in red is moving away from it right now. So we're watching this area around 106 in particular. 106 is the most concerning area that I can see, and I'm trying to zoom in for some other towns, some other roads that may be affected. But I'd say 140, 106 is the main road that I'm concerned about. But next up is actually going to be 123. And we've got some pretty strong winds that are going to be passing over parts of 495 to the south as well. So this storm system is going to be moving from Mansfield towards Easton next. I can actually see that stronger rotation right here is actually going to track just north of 106. It is going to track towards Easton. So in Easton, that is the spot that you're going to have to go ahead and take cover, because we do currently have another tornado warning. We've actually been on a tornado warning now for, I think, almost 45 minutes because we had one that just expired that was in southeastern in parts of Rhode Island and moved into Massachusetts. It's actually the same storm that we're watching out there now. But whenever we see a signature like this, we get very concerned. Even without getting any reports of a tornado, we get very concerned that there is some rotation right now. And we've got that heavy rain that is falling. We had our zip trip going on at Sterling this morning. We have actually had to put that on hold for a little while for this tornado warning. I know you guys at the desk are with me, following this as closely as possible. Any reports that come in, right?
That's right, Shiri. It is 9:30 on this very active Friday morning. And as Shiri mentioned, we have been keeping a close eye on the radar because this all started around 9 o'clock where we saw those tornado warnings in the Providence area, and that same storm moving northeast. And that's producing what we're seeing right now on the radar that Shiri has been talking about.
Yeah, and our weather team is working very hard. Again, that first tornado warning, that came up around 9, and then it expired around 9:15. We had to back out to our zip trip, and then we have another tornado warning that is for Plymouth and Norfolk County. If you're just joining us, that's until 9:45. We're taking a live look outside right now at Dedham.
Yes,
I
and you
barely can see out there.
Yeah, you can barely see out there. There's a lot of fog. There's, of course, the wind blowing that flag. And you can see that flag blowing. That's why we dropped the banner there with the words on there. It is raining. We can hear the thunder outside of our studio here in Dedham, and you can even see the headlights in the distance, which gives you an idea of the visibility right now because of the fog. We saw a similar picture in Boston over the Zachem Bridge. A heavy fog over the city of Boston. We're hearing the thunder right now over our studios. Yeah. Again, we are under a tornado warning until 9:45. Shiri is looking basically at southeast Massachusetts, Plymouth, and Norfolk counties. That's her main concern right now. And of course, we like to remind people that when we are in a tornado warning, do not be outside, please stay inside. Go to a basement or an inside room. Sherry, is there something you wanted to tell us there? I just heard you right now.
No, I'm just talking to Ceci. We are just looking for any kind of reports that are coming in from the National Weather Center, because they're just great at conveying like those damage reports. You guys carry on. I'm actually looking at some stuff behind the scenes over here.
And so what we were saying while Sherry is looking, we want to remind people what to do in the event that there is a tornado. You want to be inside in an inside room without windows on the lowest floor. That can be a bathroom, a closet, a center hallway. If possible, avoid sheltering in any room with windows. And for added protection, get under something sturdy, like a heavy table, a workbench will do.
Yeah, and you can cover your body with a blanket as well, a sleeping bag or a mattress, and protect your head with anything available. We can actually hear that thunder right above us, our studio right now. If you are outside or in a mobile home, find a nearby building, preferably with a basement. And if you're in a car, which many of you are, we know, do not try to outrun a tornado, but instead find the nearest building. Again, we were talking about this tornado warning issued for Norfolk and Plymouth counties until 9:45. Sherry, you were mentioning specific areas. We heard Mansfield, Brockton, Bridgewater. Are those areas in the box now?
Yeah, exactly. So tornado warning. It goes until 9:45 this morning. And the areas that you can see, like Mansfield, are under that warning right now. We can even take it a little closer to where we're seeing that rotation right now. I'd say Easton, Sharon are spots that have to be careful. And down the line, we're talking about Brockton, Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, Pembroke, Halifax, if this holds together, because you have to consider this has a history of producing rotation. So sometimes these things can go through some cycles where we see some rotation and then it kind of weakens and then it ramps back up. I mean, think about how long did we have between those two tornado warnings? Maybe
Not
5
long.
minutes?
Not even 10 minutes, yeah. It looks like she's getting another update.
Yeah. No, it's just another severe thunderstorm warning. And that's the other thing. We're talking about this tornado warning because a tornado is always going to be our biggest concern and our biggest threat. We have so many areas under severe thunderstorm warnings for wind gusts right now. And you can get winds that are just as damaging as a tornado with a lot of straight line wind damage as well. So we've got a lot of spots that we're watching. You can see some yellow shading in the background, some yellow boxes. That's actually where we have severe thunderstorm warnings. Even in the Boston area right now, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, that tornado warning is really our focus right now. And that specific tornado warning goes until 9:45 this morning. So we've got about 11 more minutes of this. We're going to stay on air. We're not going anywhere because minute by minute, we get updates to the radar scans. We get updates to what we like to use to hone in to where we're seeing some rotation as well. And right now, you can see some of that heaviest rain is actually lifting out of Mansfield and Easton and up towards areas like Sharon and Brockton and East Bridgewater. And those are going to be the next areas that we're then going to have to watch for the potential rotation coming on through. So we're going to go from here where we're looking at the heavy rain and we're tracking this specific storm for that tornado threat to right here, which is where we're able to see where we're getting some rotation. Now, if I play through, like, say, the last half hour, you're going to see that there was, like, a pretty good signal right here in Mansfield around 9:20 this morning. I'm not seeing as tight a signature right now, but we do still have some rotation. To me, it looks like it's out towards about Stoughton and Brockton. I would say those are the areas to watch right now. Anybody that's on 138, that's where I'm seeing some of the better rotation signals coming on through. But our tornado warning does continue. There's also some hail up to an inch in size, inch in diameter, which is about the size of a quarter that we're also tracking with this storm. So you're going to see me looking down a lot, and that's because I'm just manipulating my tools as we go, because I want to make sure that you guys are getting the most updated information. As far as the warning areas right now, this tornado warning is still set to expire at 9:45, but right now, I mean, this thing is, it's really moving along pretty quickly. Bridgewater, Brockton, Randolph, and you can see Sharon as well, kind of on the south side. I'd say more so Brockton, Randolph, now Whitman and Rockland. This storm is just moving incredibly fast across the area. And with it, we have the potential for some rotation and some damaging winds. Even outside of this, if you're listening to us from the Boston area right now, we have a severe thunderstorm. This has been really intense rain, a lot of lightning, a lot of hail, a lot of gusty winds as well. And this is our most immediate threat, which is that tornado warning. You can see near Rockland getting a lot of lightning strikes as well. In no way, shape, shape, or form is it safe to go out and try to get any pictures of this. I would say we have something worth watching down here out towards Halifax. I'm just going to come out here and look at it from this perspective right now. So we've got our storm that we're tracking here, and you have to make sure with a lot of these things that we watch on radar that things are lining up. Where we have the heaviest rain is where we're seeing some of these other signals as well. And right now, I would have to say it's probably up here that we're actually watching for some possible rotation, that Rockland, Brockton, Bridgewater area, Randolph as well. Again, we want you in an inside room, basement if that's a possibility. Take your phone, stream the news. You don't need to stay near the TV at all. But this line that's coming off, we might not have a rotation here, but Halifax is about to get slammed with some really strong winds. And I'd say down through Middleborough as well, kind of in the line of fire of that strong storm. So I really, really want to stress that even though we're focusing on this tornado warning that goes until 9:45 this morning, we have a lot of wind area-wide this morning, enough so that it's damaging it. I would highly recommend just staying at home until these storms pass. This is going to be our greatest weather threat today, the storms that we're seeing out here this morning. This is likely going to move offshore. And by about 11 o'clock this morning, I think the strongest storms are gone. And I think we can actually get some breaks in the clouds this afternoon. It's just going to be muggy and warm, which could actually spawn a couple additional strong pop-up thunderstorms. But right now, this is some warm, humid air lifting up from the south. It's got some spin with it. Brockton, Randolph, Bridgewater, these areas that we've been watching, that's where we have the potential for a little bit of rotation. Okay, so Kevin is texting me, and he really wants me out towards Stoughton right now. And we do have definitely some rotation that we're watching right now. And it's right here that he wants me to zoom into. So this would be out towards Turnpike Street, 7th Street, Ash Street, 4th Street, out towards Stoughton and Corbett Street as well. This is close to 27 and 24. What we look at on radar here is that this is where we have our storm, or the motion in the storm, moving towards radar, and this is away. And that was a good call by Kevin. I bet you some of his tools at home really had that popping. So right now, Stoughton and Avon seem like they're really going to be the focus for this. Here is 138, 24, 28, 27 a little bit to the south, and these are the areas where we want you inside a room right now. I'm actually going to rearrange some of my things. We're going to go from here to right now precipitation. I know you guys oftentimes like to look at precipitation, and that Stoughton area and the area that we're focusing on is pretty far north as far as this tornado warning goes. What can happen with a situation like this, there can be a couple areas of concentration that we need to watch, but right now that really does look like where we have the best rotation, and that would be, again, some of the air mass moving away and some of it moving towards the radar site, which is located in Taunton. You can see those radar sweeps coming on through. So at 9:40 right now, I really want you to just keep in mind that we're going to stay with you, but you in return need to be in a safe place. And a safe place in your house means inside, basement if possible, away from windows, and just staying with us until we tell you that you're in the clear. What will happen with these kind of storms, geez, we're definitely seeing a lot of stuff out there right now. What will often happen with these storms is that areas will be dropped as they're cleared. And of course, we'll keep you posted on those areas as you're safe to come back out. But right now, we really want to focus on the areas where you need to stay safe. And there are several spots that we're watching, including the Stoughton and Avon areas right now. That's where we have the most obvious signature that we have some rotation on radar. This is a tornado warning. This whole red box on your screen here, that encompasses a lot of spots. And there may be some other areas that we need to focus on as well. Lots of lightning strikes that we're tracking at the same time as well. Even outside of this, there have been a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued. We have one of those in the Boston area where damaging winds cannot be ruled out. On top of that, 1-inch hail can be dangerous. So this is a situation where, because of the danger from any kind of potential tornado, and because we're seeing this heavy rain and this lightning and these winds and these hails, it's just your best bet. hang out inside. Oh, by the way, tornado warning, you never want to get in the car. You never want to try and drive away or outrun it. You just need to hunker down, stay in your place. Mobile homes are not an option. It needs to be like a safe, sturdy building, inside room, basement if that's an option, and just keep listening to us until we tell you that you're in the clear. Right now, I can tell you spots like Mansfield are in the clear. Easton, you guys are in the clear right now. These are spots where the immediate threat has passed. Now we're really going to focus on the potential for some really strong winds. And I could just tell based on these signatures in spots like right now, Hanson is probably seeing some pretty strong winds out in Rockland. Of course, we've been talking about Avon and Stoughton right now. I don't like the signature that I'm seeing on radar right now. I don't love the signature that I'm seeing on my velocity data either, because even though it might not be a very obvious tight gradient where we have bright reds versus bright greens, we do have enough of a contrast here to show us that there is some spin in the atmosphere. Now, whether or not that's getting down to the ground, it is hard to tell right now. We have a couple other tools that I can use, but some of them get a little tough to use when it's very close to the radar site. So I'm actually gonna go over to one of those right now. Bear with me. And again, it just looks very staticky. I really don't feel like that I can make a call on that based off of correlation coefficient right now, not off of the computer data that I'm looking at. I know Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lemanowitz is listening along at home, and if he sees anything, I do welcome him to, of course, communicate with our producers. But the main area of concern that we're going to be watching is really focused around Avon right now, specifically around 28. That's where we have the reds, we have the greens, we have signals of rotation. I know that this tornado warning is set to expire in 2 minutes. I would not be surprised if it was continuing. Ceci, any updates for any damage or whether you're hearing whether it's going to continue or not?
No updates, just noticing that the rotation on the rotation track, it is intensifying and it is approaching, as you were mentioning, the Randolph area, Avon area. Stoughton is under the gun at this moment. So that's what we're noticing. We're noticing that this rotation, instead of broadening, it is tightening up a little bit more.
Okay, we've also got a new flash flood warning that has been issued in some areas out there right now. In Norton, I believe we've got a flash flood warning, which was another concern that we had with some of these storms as we were watching them, because we do have some really intense rain that's coming down with these. We've got rain, we've got lightning, we've got hail, we've got it all. So the worst of the storms right now, really, we've got two areas that we're watching. Obviously, the tornado warning until 9:45 this morning, which is it's set to expire in just a minute. We'll see what happens with that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was extended. But we do have some rotation that we're seeing near Randolph, or rather Avon, coming out of Stoughton. Whenever you have maroons on the map like this, whenever you have that really heavy rain like we're seeing across southeastern Massachusetts, that gives us a potential of picking up over an inch in an hour. And there's just no way for that to drain away fast. So that does oftentimes create some flash flooding issues. Just bringing you back to my tool that allows me to see where there's some rotation on the map right now, and it is around 28 right now in Avon. Just to rattle off a couple other areas that we're watching, a couple other streets. It is 9:45 right now. Tornado warning. I haven't heard my computer's beep. I don't think it has expired yet, so we're just going to keep going with this. Out towards the Avon area right now, anyone on Hamilton Way, South Street, Acorn Drive, Gill Street, Lisa Drive, Boundary Street, these are areas where you guys need to be taking cover because we do have indications that there's some rotation out there. There's actually a couple spots. I think it's worth mentioning that in Rockland, I'm actually seeing until 10:45. It's been extended an hour.
Until Friday, 10:45.
Okay, so we're going to be here for a while, everybody. You know what? There's a reason why. It's because this particular cell that we've been watching, this particular cell, until it gets offshore, there's a lot of spin with it. I've got to be honest, I don't think it's going to take until 10:45 for this to move offshore. So we're going to keep watching this until it does. But you can even see here the big picture. You can see that this has some spin to it. This is really warm, humid, tropical air that's lifting up from the south. It's got some spin to it. Right now, areas like Scituate, Marshfield, Weymouth, Avon, Stoughton. These are areas that are under a tornado warning now until, you said 10:45, Ceci?
Yes, 10:45.
Okay, until 10:45 this morning. I've actually got a couple tools to help us with that over here. So that is a long time. This storm system is moving fairly fast. Which is okay, but it also means that it's packing a punch as it comes through. So I'd say there's a couple areas to focus on, a couple spots that I'm watching right now. Easiest way for me to do this is actually to go between these two. Just bear with me here. So we've got, I think, worth watching right now in Rockland. This area right here is of most concern to me. That's going to be nearing 37, and that is out towards, I believe, Avon right now, if you're headed towards Rockland. Areas to take cover will be Randolph, Avon, Rockland, Abington, and Pembroke right now as well. Even if you don't end up with a tornado, chances are there's going to be some damaging wind and some flash flooding in this warned area that we're keeping an eye on. So there is so much going on with this morning, everybody. We've got a lot of activity that we're currently monitoring on radar, from severe thunderstorm warnings to tornado warnings. Tornado warning is the reason that we are with you, staying on air right now as we watch this area of rain. Right now, Randolph, Rockland, Hanover, Marshfield, Scituate, Hingham, all under that tornado warning, and that has been extended by an hour. It's because we're waiting for this whole thing to just pull offshore. Until that happens, there's rotation in the atmosphere. This was something that we could see back when it was moving into Connecticut. There was a little broad rotation. Now we're seeing that it's really starting to tighten up a little bit. And when we start getting some indicators on some of our tools that this one is definitely showing a stronger signal. So I'd still say the main area that we're watching is going to be out towards Avon, Holbrook, 37, 139. These are areas that we've got to watch for some possible rotation. It isn't an absolute that it's on the ground. You can have tornado warnings issued like the National Weather Service has this morning because of this signature with our velocity, which is radar data, just showing us the motion of the storm and that spin in the air. This is the reason why that tornado warning was issued. You don't have to have a funnel cloud. You don't have to have a tornado on the ground. We have all these great tools to help us give you warnings before that ever happens. So consider this your warning. We see the spin in the air. We need you to be in your place. Just listen to us. We will guide you through it and be here until this whole thing is over. But this is really the main area that I think we need to focus on right now, out towards Randolph and Rockland. In some of these areas, like, just to name off a couple streets, Holbrook as well, but 37, parts of Route 3, in fact, parts of Route 3 we're going to have to watch as well. 18, 58, 139, these are streets that might be familiar to you. If this is in your community, this is where I am seeing some spin in the air. The red in the background is the tornado warning itself that has been extended for a long time out there, but you can see how fast moving this storm is right now. And right now, I've got a band of really heavy rain that's coming into play in Cohasset, in Scituate. These are spots that are also under the tornado warning, and Hanover and Marshfield too. And we're gonna go from here again to that velocity data to try and track where we might have some rotation this morning. I'm actually going to do this. I don't like the way that velocity data looks, so we're just gonna try pasting this. Can I send it to you guys for 1 second while I just fine tune this and take a closer look?
Hey there.
All
So
right,
Sherry,
guys.
we just want to sum up what Sherry's been talking about, because it's been an active weather morning, and
Absolutely.
this started just before 9 o'clock. We heard about reports of possible tornado damage, or possible tornadoes rather, in the Connecticut area outside of Hartford. Then it moved towards Providence. Then it moved its way to our area, and that's where Sherry has been really monitoring this whole situation for us.
That's right. That's right. And our producers are talking to us. When this is potentially all over, this will be about 2 hours of multiple warnings. As Ray just mentioned, we had one around around 9 o'clock. That expired around 9:15, and within just about 10 minutes, another warning for Norfolk, Plymouth counties. Sherry's mentioning a lot of specific areas.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of that. Stoughton,
right.
Avon, under the gun. We're talking about lightning strikes. The Boston area, too, is seeing damaging winds, and this is all moving east about 45 miles per hour, so it is fast moving.
That's right.
But at the same time, it's lasting quite a while. Until 10:45 is when we're hearing the tornado warnings may expire, and that's why we're taking a break right now and letting Sherry gather all of that data right now. There is flash flood warnings in Norton as well, so
and
that's
Boston
something in Boston as well. She was looking to see if there was any rotations in Rockland. That's another issue of concern too.
We're hearing Marshfield as well.
Quarter-sized hail has been reported as well, so that's something that's very concerning. So again, Stoughton and Avon under the gun. They're telling people, please seek shelter. Instead of being by the TV, take your phone, go somewhere where you can seek shelter that is safe, away from windows, of course, to make sure that you're getting all the data that we're getting here inside the station.
What's also important to note, to stay inside if you're in the car as well. This is a live look at the Zachem Bridge. You really can't see much. The visibility is very low here.
Yeah, and I thought we just saw a flash of lightning. It is shaking. That's the damaging winds we were talking about. The rain, you can actually see the raindrops on the camera. You can't see many cars because the visibility is so bad because there's fog. And as Sherry has been mentioning, if you are thinking about getting in the car, do not. You cannot drive away from a hurricane, or from a tornado rather. So stay inside, stay indoors, stay off the roads. You can see some cars there in the distance, the headlights there on both sides of the Zachem Bridge. People, you want to get out of this weather and seek shelter inside, away from windows, because this is a very active morning. Again, you can see on your screen tornado warning issued for Norfolk and Plymouth counties until 10:45 this morning.
That's right. And a reminder about what to do in the event of a tornado touching down. You're going to want to make sure you go to the basement or an inside room without windows on the lowest floor. Sherry's been mentioning if you're watching the TV, just take your phone, watch us, on your phone and stream that there. That can be in a bathroom, a closet, center hallway. And for added protection, get under something sturdy like a heavy table or a workbench. Cover your body with a blanket, a sleeping bag, or a mattress, and protect your head with anything available that you have. If you are outside or in a mobile home, find a nearby building, preferably with a basement.
Yeah, and if you're in a car, like I was mentioning on the Zachem Bridge, do not try to outrun a tornado, but instead find the nearest building. And again, you want to stay away from windows, stay away from anything really that can damage, that can hurt you. We also just got a message from Marlboro Police. They're putting this message out on Facebook. They are receiving reports of street flooding in several areas. Some roads may be impassable, so please don't try to drive through. We say this all the time, turn around, don't drown, because of course we've seen how dangerous it can be. They say unless you have a boat, don't go into these flooded areas. And of course, they're reminding everyone to stay safe. And the reason being is because we are monitoring a tornado warning that was issued for Norfolk and Plymouth counties until 10:45.
And of course, we will be on the air that entire time. Sherry, our entire weather team is here, making sure that we keep you safe as we monitor, potential damage from the storms.
And an interesting note, Marlboro is in Essex County, or Middlesex County rather, and the fact that they're seeing all this rain is just an indicator of just how strong this weather is, how severe this weather is, and how fast moving it is.
Right. So we want to send it back to Sherry if she's ready. Sherry, what are we seeing right now?
Well, we continue with our tornado warning. It's scheduled to go until 10:45 this morning. What I want you to keep in mind is if you're in this tornado warning area, it is not going to last until 10:45 in any one town or city. In fact, I expect it will pull offshore before that. But everything that's issued is for safety purposes. This is a storm system that has a history of rotation, and although we haven't had any confirmed tornadoes, we've just got to keep an eye on it and make sure that one doesn't end up being spawned from a situation like this. So here's the big view on radar right now, and you can see we've got a red box with red shading underneath. That is our tornado warning that, again, goes until 10:45 this morning. We've got some really heavy rain that has reached the coastline in Marshfield and Situate right now. We've got another batch of heavy rain that's focused around Weymouth. And we have several tools that we're using to keep an eye on where we might have some spin in the atmosphere right now. So we've got a little bit of a collision here. We've got a little bit of that red and green colliding there. But I'd say the main area of concern is going to be out towards where we've been continuing to watch this morning, is out towards this Route 3 area near Weymouth. and heading towards, it's really like Weymouth, Rockland, Holbrook. This is the area where I still see the best spin that we're currently watching in the atmosphere right now. You know, we do have some heavier rain off to the north of that that's going to be worth monitoring. But the biggest thing is where we have that rotation happening and where we can end up with either a funnel cloud or tornado getting down and creating some damage on the ground. We've, of course, got that heavy rain, which has created some flooding issues this morning, a lot of lightning, hail up to 1 inch in diameter, and also gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So all of this is very concerning. We have a tornado warning in effect. And if I'm listing your town or city, I'm sure your phone has already alerted you to this, but our priority is keeping you safe. So the priority is staying away from windows, getting in the basement, getting in an interior room if you don't have that. And right now we've got a pretty strong storm that is basically getting out towards Marshfield. It's reaching Situate right now, Norwell, Cohasset, and Hingham, and Weymouth, and Rockland, and Abington. Right now, we've got a lot of the worst of it passing spots like Avon and Randolph. So it's always good to hear when some of the worst of it has already pulled away from you guys. But we've got a lot that we're watching with this and several areas that we're going to have to watch for some possible rotation as well. So I'm actually going to go from this, which is depicting the heavy rain and where we have that heavy rain. And I'm just going to toggle between that and a look at where we have that rotation. You can see we've been focusing on that rotation near Route 3. And we've got a couple other spots that we're going to watch. I actually want to go back here for a second. Yeah, we're actually going to back up and we're going to continue to focus on this area because this is where we have the biggest collision of the colors, which basically means air mass moving away from radar, air mass moving towards radar, which means spin in the storm. And right now, Weymouth and soon to be Hingham are probably some of the more concerning spots that I have on radar. And that's right on like the northern fringe of that tornado warning that we've been tracking. So those spots you need to take cover. Anybody under this warning until you are cleared, please stay in your safe place. I mean, we've got wind, we've got rain, we've got hail, we've got it all. The potential for a tornado, although one has not been reported so far, and you can see that we've got some really intense rain that's climbing down along the south coast right now as well. Not getting a ton of rotation in those spots, but definitely seeing the heavy rain. Even outside that, as we widen the view, we have got so much rain across Massachusetts. Eastern Mass right now, it is a situation where I would not be surprised to see multiple flooding reports coming out. The only warnings that I actually have highlighted right now are the tornado warning that we're watching until 10:45 this morning in southeastern Massachusetts and the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect in Boston